Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Potential Unleashed. We are back with another One Piece chapter review. This is One Piece chapter 1069, titled We Owe All There Is to Desire. This chapter, honestly, it dropped a lot of stuff. We got some awakenings. We got some more stuff about devil fruits. We got some Egghead Island's going to be crazy. I said this in my last review. I was not necessarily sure how I was going to feel about this arc because, number one, this is a more information heavy arc. Don't get me wrong, those are good. Like Zao was one that was good, but it didn't have a lot of action. And like with characters like Rob Lucci here, I was like, what's gonna happen? But this chapter was crazy, right? A lot of stuff happened, and even though I'd say this was a really good chapter, there's one thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit later that kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way. But if you guys enjoy regular reviews like this and other anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. With that away, my name is Potential Unleashed, and let's get into the review. We do got to talk about the cover page. It is about Mads and apparently presented by Luffy or Feld. I don't know really how you say that, but a Lone Shark was the one that was supporting Mads, which consisted of Caesar, Judge, I think Vegapunk and Queen as well, that they were in there. We know, I mean, at least from Caesar, Vegapunk, and Queen's perspective, they just like to invent. And as long as they have money, they'll do whatever they want, especially Vegapunk. I mean, he was willing to work for Dragon, and he's not really for the world government, but Dragon was broke, and the world government wasn't, right? But that's all about the cover page, so let's get into the actual chapter. In the last chapter, we left off with Rob Lucci using the Rokun gun on Atlas, knocking her out, and we saw that Luffy and Lucci they met each other, right? Pigeon Guy, Straw Hat, all of that. And I want to mention that I find it funny that the world government cannot act on Emperors of the Sea unless they have permission because of the influence that the Yonko have. No matter how new they are, they have considerable and strong men backing them, so even a small little skirmish can turn into an all-out war. So that's why they had to get permission from the Navy. Makes sense. I like it. And a lot of times, like, at least for me, like, the Navy gets put in like different predicaments in places where they're like, oh well, the Navy this, Navy that, admirals aren't strong, but there's different things that they have to set in place because of the balance of the world and different things that would happen if they ended up acting without a higher person's permission, right? I love that they mentioned this. And so we see Luffy, he's getting upset because Atlas is one of the Vegapunks that gave him food. Honestly, if you feed Luffy, it doesn't matter, right? And Lucci, this man Lucci, he's all about the smoke. That's how you know these two just don't like each other. Because Kaku's like, yo, we gotta wait for reinforcement. You gotta wait for Navy HQ. And Lucci's like, I don't give a fluff about the consequences, right? I'm getting ready to scrap. And him and Luffy, they go at it, right? And I find it's funny because yesterday, because today was actually my last day for finals, right? I don't have any school go back to till January 9th. So I've been posting a lot more. This will be the fourth video, like the fourth day. But I made a video recently, and you guys can still watch it. I wanted to make it before this chapter came out about Rob Lucci and his strength, and like how I think people are underappreciating him and underestimating him. I'll leave that in the description because in this video, Lucci and Luffy are going against each other. I said it's probably going to happen. Wouldn't be surprised. Luffy's still going to win. But people are acting like Lucci hasn't been training and that he's been twiddling his thumbs, which is not the case. But like I said, we'll address that a little bit later. But I want to mention we cut back to Navy HQ. Anytime we get something with the Admiral, especially at Kainu, I love it. But this is to mention that Kizaru's pulling up, right? Kizaru, I think once we defeat an Admiral, right, we already defeated Yonko, but once we defeat an Admiral, that's when well, at least for me, I'm like, okay, this crew can take on anybody. I'm not really concerned. But I want to know who's going to fight Admiral Kizaru, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the Seraphins, with Lucci, with Kaku, and other members of CP0, and Kizaru, right? He's crazy. So I wonder if Sanji or Zoro or which one of them two are going to have to step up. Because reason why I'm saying this is because Lucci ended up getting a new form. He's an awakened form, and he's like, yo, you're not the one who's gotten stronger. It looks like Lucci, he has like fire around his cat fruit. But this is where it kind of grinds my gears a little bit, and why whenever we talk about power systems, that devil fruits and Hanki, no matter how good they are, I don't think they'll ever be in top 5. because, and like for anime, because they're not consistent. Because at least for me, right, it makes, don't get me wrong, it makes sense that Lucci is awakened because they're going to reintroduce him to the story. The two things that they would have to do is give him better haki, potentially advanced forms of that, and already have haki. And number two, he has to upgrade his Devil Fruit. And so the reason why I'm saying like I'm fine with him awakened, but it also grinds my gears, because why the fluff was Kaido not awakened? Now granted, he had that magma type form thing, maybe that was his awakening, it's not confirmed, we gotta wait for SBS, stuff like that. But Kaido's a Yonko, considered the strongest creature in the series. So why the fluff? Luffy got an awakening, Law got an awakening, Kid got an awakening. That was an arc based off of Devil Fruits, Haki's awakenings. So it doesn't make sense that like Oda only does, I guess, like writes awakenings when it serves a purpose. Does that make sense? So like logically it makes sense that Lucci had one, but why didn't Kaido have one? For him to be considered, like, Kaido was already a beast, but for him to be considered the strongest pirate or the strongest creature, and him not getting up, being awakened or anything like that, it just doesn't make sense to me, where somebody like Lucci can be awakened. And that's not to say that like I'm mad at Lucci being awakened, because like I said, I think it's deserved, but it is what it is. But also, why the fluff? Like, I don't know how strong Lucci is at this point, because this man, don't get me wrong, it looks more like Lucci struggling and that Luffy's kind of toying with him a little bit. But Luffy's in Gear 5 already. Now, against Kaido, he was fighting and boxing with Kaido in base. Granted, they probably off-screen some stuff to make Luffy, reach his form, or, with, especially with Kizaru pulling up and the Seraphim, stuff like that. But, I guess it is what it is. Maybe Oda just wanted to drop Luffy in Gear 5th. I don't know. But we did get some new information about the Devil Fruits, because Vegapunk, he pulled up, he was like, yo, is he the White Warrior? And everybody's like, man, he has the Gum Fruit. Like, we just thought it was an extension of that, but Vegapunk's like, no, right? That's not the Gum Fruit's not really a thing. We already knew that, Sun God Nika, whatever. But the Straw has to learn a little bit more about Devil Fruits, where I'm doing this review like right after I read the chapter, so I don't really have time to process it. But basically, Devil Fruits, if I'm reading this correctly from Vegapunk, is that they appear to manifest the desire of people, or the desire for evolution. And so doing stuff like, gee, I wish I could do this, or wish I could do that, it showcases what humanity wants in the future. However, of course, these different desires are unnatural, so there needs to be like a counteract to kind of rein these desires in, which is the sea itself. So obviously, once you eat a Devil Fruit and you get put in water and stuff like that, it ends up not negating, but because they've seen that Devil Fruits, you can still use them, but it makes the Devil Fruit user unconscious and weakened by the sea. So I find basically, as long as you have, I guess in Luffy's case, it's like, imagine, like, you have no limit to your imagination, but as long as you have strong desires, that's what manifests in the Devil Fruit. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I'll probably do a video more in depth talking about it. But Sendamaru, he's here, he's ordering the pacifista to do stuff, and Vegapunk is all like, yo, like, you gonna protect me? He said, well, pirates are bad, so like, if I help you, then that would mean I'm going against the Navy. And Vegapunk's like, right. So he's like, you can really do whatever you want. But Vegapunk, he's trying to leave the straw with the Straw Hats, and Sendamaru's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Esper, right? He's with CP0, and Kaku's really funny, man. He's like, all right. He said, I'll take on this one, you'll take on that one. Esper, you take on one of the pacifistas. And then he's like, oh shoot, I forgot that the pacifistas respond to Vegapunk and Sendamaru. So he's like, well, dang it. So Esper attacks them, and the pacifista hierarchy, it goes to 5 elders, then Vegapunk, and then the 6 Stellas, or 6 passive Vegapunks, then it's Sendamaru, and then anyone with the authority ship. So basically, no matter what they do, the only person that can help them is the 5 elders, but they're not available at the time. So anyways, these people are kind of fighting a decisive battle. Defensive battle, because they have Luffy, they have the pacifistas, or the, what do they call it, the Seraphims going after him. So CP0's losing it, but then we end up seeing that Vegapunk, like, and Sendamaru, they're doing their thing, where Sendamaru is like, yo, you're gonna take Vegapunk with you? I can't really trust you, but if you say you are, and all of a sudden, bam, Lucci comes in, he attacks Sendamaru, and Sendamaru's unconscious, where Senamaru no longer has controls of the pacifistas or the seraphims, and so that shifts the tide of the battle. So it's going to be probably Luffy. Zoro and Brook are off the ship, but I assume that, personally, this is what I think is going to happen based off of like where everybody is, because Kizaru's pulling up to the island, right? Egghead. So unless, you know, there's Smoker and, you know, they're nearby and stuff, but what's going to happen is probably going to be Sanji, Jinbei, you know, and the Straw Hats with Luffy. They're going to have to take on I keep on calling them pacifistas, but the Seraphims with CP0. So that part of the crew, you know, is going to have to fight whoever's in Egghead Island. And I think Zoro's going to be the one who has to stop, because if Kizaru goes in there, it's definitely going to be a problem. So I think that Zoro's matchup, and he got to get his get back. I think that he's going to go and prevent Kizaru from at least entering Egghead Island. But overall, this was a really interesting chapter. A lot of stuff happened. We got to learn more about Devil Fruits. Like I said, I'm not really the biggest fan. I don't have a problem with Lucci being awakened, but awakenings need a little bit more. Like, who is awakened, who isn't, and stuff like that kind of bothers me a little bit. Surprised that we got to see Gear 5th right off the bat going against Rob Lucci, but that just proves that Lucci is strong. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.